All right, you don't know me. You don't care who I am. That's fine. I built a basketball training business from literally zero, knowing zero people in my city, in a new city that I moved to at the age of 22. Under 1.5 years, I opened up my own gym. This year, we are on track to do over $100,000 in revenue, close to 200. I'm going to share with you the 7 steps that got me from zero to where I am today, recording in my own office in my gym. So all of this is very, very, very relatable to many of you out there. I was literally just in your shoes. All right, step number 1 is build a small client base. You cannot do anything without getting a kid better. If you cannot get a kid better at basketball, then nobody cares. Okay, that is step number 1, is build a small client base. There's a few different ways you can do this. I'll tell you what I did. I would go to the YMCA, just the local YMCA, and every single kid that I saw that was working out or shooting or whatever, I'd be like, hey, you want to work out? And I did. For free. You cannot get caught up in charging people right away when you have 0 clients. Okay, if you are running, if you rent out a facility and you are running something, you can charge. Okay, but if you're just at the YMCA or whatever the case is, do not worry about how much you charge. This is where you're learning. You're learning, experimenting, figuring stuff out. You need volume, working out people, getting people on your side, getting people to trust you. Okay, another thing I did, I went to AAU games and then handed out business cards. All right. Okay, for this, of course, you'll need a website. Everybody says you don't need a website to start, but people like professional. Okay, you need a professional website. Okay, of course, your email, phone, and then what you do. Okay, I was all about looking professional from the very beginning. Okay, looking professional is extremely, extremely important. Everybody is a basketball trainer. Okay, but if your image is not professional, people aren't really going to care. Okay, if you show that you are professional from the very beginning, even if you have literally no clients, okay, then that is going to be much, much easier for you to sell yourself. All right, so these 2 things here were huge for me. And then my other one that I really liked was Instagram. Okay, you can follow every kid in the city. Follow every single kid in the city, like literally everyone. Go to your competitors' pages, so AAU programs, other trainers, whatever it is, follow every single one of them. Okay, I did that every time or every day until Instagram told me I can't do it anymore. And I just waited till the next day and repeat. You follow every single person you can, but all of this goes back to professional page. If your Instagram doesn't look professional, it's not going to catch any eyes. Okay, your Instagram has to look professional. So I won't get too deep into that, but basically say what you do, where you do it, and then something for them to click on. So call to action. All right, this is where like a website comes in. Or you could just do it, be simple as DM. Okay, DM me to train. Whatever your call to action is, DM me to talk, whatever it is. Okay, something for them to do. All right, this one was huge. Okay, I love doing that. All right, that just gets people to notice you. All right, so Instagram, follow every kid, every parent in the city, and then from that, okay, you can DM. Okay, or sorry, you can run a free workout. Okay, that is something that was huge for me. So I had a couple of these. I had probably 3 or 4. I would hype them up for multiple weeks at a time. Okay, on Instagram, I would say free workout on Sunday, and I would do it 2 weeks in advance. I'd rent out a gym. I wouldn't make any money off it, obviously, but what you would get here is you are beginning to build your database. Okay, so you get people in the door. That is hardest step number 1. Database. Make sure that you collect their emails off of this too. Okay, collect their emails. All right. This is all crucial in your starting point. Okay. Make sure that you are doing this correct. Okay, that was a big thing I made when the first free workout I ran. I didn't collect a single email. People just showed up. I had no idea who they were, what their name was, where they went to school, any of that. Huge mistake. Okay, you cannot do that. You must collect their information. Okay, you can do that in your website form. I use Coach IQ. Okay, I can link their their socials down in the description. Awesome. But however you do it, whether they have to email to register, whether they have to fill out a form, whatever the case is, you have to collect their contact information because that's how you follow up and that's how you get them into your program. Okay, so that's number one. Build a small client base, get kids better. You can get 4 to 5 kids really good. Don't even have to charge. Ideally, they pay you a little bit, but that is step number one, is get kids better, build a small client base. From there, everything spans off of that. So step number 2, get own gym space without debt. Okay, so there is a million different ways you can do this. Okay, you could know somebody in the city that has a gym. You could reach out to a bunch of local places. So for me, I didn't know a single person that had a gym. I just didn't. It's tough. But I emailed every single local church in the city. Well, I didn't know if they had a gym or not, but I emailed every single local church. I said, hey, this is what I'm doing. Do you have a gym? Would you be willing to rent it out? Simple. Okay. Luckily, I just had happened to have a response from a church, and they had nobody renting out their gym, and they really needed extra money. So what I did, which is what you should do, negotiate. What they told me was $30 an hour. Okay, this is all kind of a mess. They told me $30 an hour, and me with 0 clients could not afford that. I had no money, no clients, and the few kids that I worked with that were loyal to me didn't really pay a ton. Negotiate $30 an hour. So what I did, I made a deal that worked for me short term and a deal that worked for them long term. Okay, so what I did, I said, what if we did, I started low. What if we did $5 per kid per hour? And they agreed right off rip. So short term, it helped me. Long term, it helped them. Okay, in the short term, of course, I had to pay less. So literally, I was paying $0 or $5 or $10 for the hour. Great deal. Okay, I'm not saying you're going to get that exact deal, but that's what I did. That's what helped me. I negotiated on a per kid term. So what it did for me in the short term, like I said, I only had to pay like 0. I didn't even have to pay anything. It was just however many kids showed up. Okay, so long term, once I got more people in, like the year after, they were making like 70, 75, 80 an hour. Okay, I ran a camp one time and they made like 150 an hour. So it benefited them greatly in the long term. And then the number one thing here from number 1 and 2 is that relationships were at the core of this. Relationships were at the core. Not only did I have this deal with them that paid off long term, I nurtured this relationship as much as I can. Okay, they were the number one reason that I was even able to do anything with basketball. So I made sure to take care of them. I stayed after and helped them set up for their stuff. I went out of my way to do things for them, to help out with their daycare stuff. I ran a free fundraiser camp. I raised like $1,500, which is a crazy amount of money to me at that point. And that helped me so much. Okay, because if you give, you will get more in return. That's just what it is. Okay, that's just what it is. Okay, so I nurtured that relationship as best as I could. Okay, and then same thing with the clients. All right, we'll get into that in a little bit here. But all right, so we have a small client base. Okay, we have a gym space now. We secured that. Okay, you partner with somebody. You had a family that has a gym. You whatever the case is. Okay, you have a gym space and you did not go into debt for it. So step number 3, just starting to get a little faded. Step number 3 is form your offer. Okay, when it comes to your offer, having one offer is so important. Okay, do not have 27 different offers. Don't have private training plus group training plus film study breakdown. Okay, you have one offer. Okay, one offer, one subscription. Okay, so what I did, I called them elite classes. Okay, elite classes. And all the parent had to do was tell me, do you want to come 1, 2, or 3 times a week? How often can you come? They said 2. Cool. That's this much. That's it. That is all that I did. Okay. They had no choice. All right. The parent doesn't know what their kids need. You are the expert at training. You are the expert at training their kid, at making their kid better. Okay. So why are you giving them all these different choices? Okay. Your product should solve their problem. That is on you to make the offer to help their kid. So for me, I run one clean subscription. Okay, they get their elite classes. If you want to offer film, if you want to offer online training, you can pack as much value into that as you possibly can. Okay, you can front load it with value so they're like, oh, I get this for only this much. Yes. Okay, and a lot of that stuff is stuff you can do once. Like I have a whole online training academy. I recorded it once like 2 years ago and people still use it. So you have your classes or your sessions, and all they tell you is how often they want to come. Okay, it's very simple. Another huge benefit of this is all of your different sets of eyes. So say you have social media, you have organic, word of mouth, you have business cards, flyers. Okay, all of these go into your offer. That's it. Okay, instead of having all these different eyes going to 12 different offers. Okay, you want to shove everybody into this offer as you can. Okay, the reason is, okay, once you do that, your feedback loop is tighter. Okay, what do I mean by feedback loop? All right, feedback loop means what works, what doesn't. Okay, your offer should serve your target demographic. Okay, I'm kind of getting into the next point here, but your offer should serve your target demographic. I'm going to stop talking there because I'm going to get into this later. All right, but one offer. Okay, have a membership, have a 3-month commitment, 6-month commitment, whatever it is, have a single offer, and all parents do is tell you how much they want to come. That's it. Step 4. Okay, oh, these are getting all messed up. Step 4 is post everywhere more than you want. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Post literally everywhere. I posted on Pinterest and LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. I don't even know if literally everywhere. Okay, just everywhere that you can, more than you want, more than you think you should. Post everywhere. Okay, I'm not going to over-explain that one. That one's pretty simple. Okay, the more eyes you get, the more potential leads you have. The more potential leads you have, the more customers you will have. Okay, and the more tighter your feedback loop is. All right, super simple. Okay, step 5. All right, this is why I stopped talking in step 3. This comes back to this. You have to refine your offer. You need to track literally everything. Okay, you need to track stuff that parents say. You need to track stuff that parents complain about. You need to track what drills the kids respond to. Literally everything. So you need to do a track. Let's write it down here. Complaints, praises, good workouts, objections. This is number 1 here. Okay, this is number 1. All right. When you are selling somebody on your product, you need to track why they do not buy. Okay, so if you're talking to them in person and you're talking to them on the phone, if they say whatever it is, okay, so if they say, oh, we don't have time, you need to find something to counter that. Okay, so you'll find what your biggest reason is for parents not to buy. So for mine, when I started, it was flexibility. Okay, I had people come a certain day of the week. People wouldn't sign up because I had them come on a Tuesday at 6 and they can't just do that every week. I changed it to where they can come whenever and they could just book whenever in our Coach IQ app. And all of a sudden, that greatest weakness, because I tracked it, became our best strength. Okay, and now parents are so much happier. All right, you have to track everything. Okay, data is key. That lets you refine your offer. All right, by listening to your current people, that allows you to refine your offer. And if something is made directly for you, so if somebody makes something directly for you, how much happier are you going to be with the result of that? Okay, it's going to be very good, right? You don't want to offer 1,000 different things, okay, because you're going to be average at everything. Think about the places that offer your strength training, your AAU, your leagues, your training, your film study, all of it is going to be average. Okay, nobody can do everything amazing. Okay, unless they're just an absolutely massive corporation and they have people focusing on all these things. All right. Track everything. That allows you to refine your offer and become even better and become the best at serving your target demographic. Okay, so your target demographic is all based on your offer. Okay, your offer is based on your target demographic. Excuse me. All right. So, again, target. You need to know your target. Okay, you have to know who your target is. You have to know who your marketing avatar is. You then form your offer based on that. Okay, after your offer, you run it for a little bit, refine. Okay, refine the offer, and then it's just a rinse and repeat cycle. Okay, it's very simple. Okay, you find your target demographic, make your offer, listen to their complaints, and refine. Repeat. Okay, and then eventually you have the best product in the city for directly who you are targeting. You are the best person at making sixth graders who are just trying to get serious into basketball better. You are the best person for that. Get as specific as you can with this. Do not just say basketball players. That's not good enough. Okay, you need to have basketball players in a specific part of town that are at this point in their journey and they need to do this. Okay, you have to be super specific. Okay, you cannot be general with this. All right. Step 5 is massive. That's how you take that next step. And then step 6, when you search for a location, okay, I see a lot of people talk about they want to get a location now. They want to do this. Okay. The one time, I'm going to keep this very simple. When you get a location, it should be when you are spending, write this down, spending more in rentals than you would having your own lease. In a lease. And you might get to that point quick. Okay, you might not. All right, but the point is, do not think a location is going to save your business. Okay, I was in a situation where I was kind of pushed into getting my own location, but I wouldn't have done it if I knew he wouldn't be okay. Okay, if I didn't have this here, okay, or at least enough to justify the lease at a new location, then I wouldn't have done it. Okay, I would have figured out a rental deal with somewhere else. Okay, it's just not smart to hope that getting a location isn't good, especially if you have a consistent gym space. All right, camera died. We're back. Okay, anyways, what I was saying, if you cannot bring people to a consistent gym space, having a location isn't going to fix it. Okay, you still have the same problems, whether it's your marketing, your offer, or your product. Okay, you have some type of problem there. Okay, if you cannot bring in people to a consistent gym location, a facility will not fix it. Okay, simple. All right, but when you are searching for a location, some things I can tell you, do not rely on a realtor only to fix your problem, okay, of finding a location. All right, I got lucky and had a realtor find an awesome spot for me. Okay, but a lot of my trainer friends who have the same thing said they had to find it on their own. Okay, look on websites like Crexy, look on Facebook, look on anywhere that lists properties. Okay, I looked for like an old warehouse because the rent's cheap and the owners typically don't really care. Okay, old industrial warehouse. My landlord lets me do literally whatever I want with this place and the rent is super cheap. All right, graduating to step 7 here. This is where I'm at. Can't lead you much further than this. Okay, but I'm still figuring this out. So follow along and we'll figure some stuff out together. Okay, so graduate to CEO. All right. Do everything. Once you open up your gym and all of these steps behind it, you're going to have to do literally everything. Okay, marketing, cleaning the floors, talking to parents, doing literally everything. Okay, at some point, you want to spend less time working in your business and more on. Okay, so when I say that, on means all the back end stuff. Okay, the client experience, your offer, reading all the data. All of that stuff to make a better product for in the gym. Okay, running in your business is meaning running all the workouts, okay, all that type of stuff, running the actual service. All right, you need somebody to run all of the back end stuff to make the service easier, to make the clients happier, to make the experience better. Okay, to work on the marketing, work on all that stuff. Okay, that's where I'm at. I'm spending a ton of time on automation and trying to automate systems and spend less time on meaningless duties. Okay, so work on, not in. Okay, oh, that N is not it. Okay, not in. All right, so something like this, be running your ads, hiring, delegating different responsibilities that you don't need to do. Okay, you don't have to be at your gym all the time. That's how you make it bigger than yourself. That's how you make it a real program and a real system. Okay, if you run everything, there's only so much you can do. Okay, you do not want to be bound to this, to be tied to this 24/7. Okay, you need space for your mental to think of new ideas, to make systems that make running the gym easier, to make it better, and to run ads, bring in more clientele. Okay, that's when all these little things become super, super important. Okay, you want to focus on working on it, okay, up to here, of course, all right, but you just can't dodge working in it, okay, especially if you are the one building it, that you just can't dodge it, all right, but once you get to a certain point, once you have people to do some work for you, all right, then you have to work on it. It doesn't mean that you just get to stop working, okay, that's just not what. So, simple roadmap, okay, simple roadmap, let's wrap it up here. 1, build relationships first. 2, secure a cheap space. 3, find one offer to parents. 4, post every day, everywhere, more than you think you should. 5, track everything you can and refine based off that data. 6, when rentals are greater than what a lease would be, lease a spot. 7, begin to work on, not in. I didn't start with investors or a big name. I literally knew nobody. Okay, I'm just a normal guy. I didn't even play college basketball. Okay, I barely played in high school. I wasn't very good. All right, and now I own a gym. Okay, again, it took a year and a half to do this. All right, so these are some things that you can take, you can learn and apply into your own gym or your own business or whatever, whether you're a basketball, soccer, whatever the case is. Okay, but I'm a normal guy. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay, it just takes time and purpose. If this helped you, stick around. I'll be posting a lot more stuff.